Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Nian Umbrian, and I'm here to go over my Week 1 IGL game against Nico in the England Ampharos. This is the Masters Best of 3 League, so you're going to play max of 3 matches. Obviously, if you win 2 games in a row, you'll win the set. So, yeah, let's go over the matchup here. So, my team is Tapu Koko, Celesteela, Latios, Arcanine, Vaporeon, etc. And his team is on the right with the Tornadus team. So looking at the matchup, I feel like I have a pretty strong matchup. I can deal with a lot of his offensive threats relatively well. And really, one of the probably the scariest thing on his team for me was Pikachu. And looking at it, Pikachu in electric terrain that I set up with my Koko could be very scary. It gets knockoff, so I can deal with things such as Latios. Latios will be able to outspeed it though, but if it catches me on like a switch in, knockoff's gonna hurt. And Pikachu also gets Surf for Donphan, so I thought that could be kind of a threat, but I was basically forced to bring Donphan this game in fear of a potential Pikachu. Druddigan could also have been annoying, but I do have a Koko, so I mean, yeah, some of the lower tier threats I wasn't as worried about, or I was hoping he would not bring, just because I was really trying to focus on his top tier threats there, because they were going to be more likely to be brought. So let's get back to the replay here. I ended up bringing the Persian Alola Koko, Donphan, Celesteela, Heracross, Vaporeon. The Persian Alola is a fast, nasty plot user. Looking at his team, I'll go back. Persian is very good with the combination of Dark Pulse, Thunderbolt, and HP Steel. That basically covers his entire team, and catching the DNC off guard maybe at some point would be very beneficial to me. With Koko, I'm an Assault Vest user this week. Very good to switch in Tornadus, DNC. Those two for sure just gives me another outlet, and really switching into Tornadus. Koko switches into Tornadus pretty well, and it can take a couple Sludge Waves, I think it was. Tornadus really, it may not even be able to fit on Sludge Wave. It wants to run like Knockoff, Defog, U-Turn, Heat Wave, Hurricane, Sludge Wave. Like it wants to run all those moves, so it may not even run Sludge Wave anyway. But if it doesn't, that's even better for Koko in taking Hurricanes and stuff. So yeah, you got a Paso Berry Donphan for the Urshifu Rapid and the potential Surf on the Pikachu. Safety Goggles Celesteela for Spore and Stun Spore on the Amoonguss. We have a Moxie Heracross, good breaker for the team, and a defensive Vaporeon. So let's get right into it. I'm going to lead my Vaporeon. Matches up very well against everything on his team. I did want to lead or get Donphan in early for rocks, but I figured that potential DNC lead or maybe a Mamoswine lead was likely here, or maybe even a Tornadus, in which Vaporeon matches up well against all of the above. So I have Flip Turn on this thing. I can net momentum immediately for me and see what I want to do. So I'm gonna go Koko here, and I'm obviously not gonna straight up Thunderbolt. I'm gonna Scout a switch in, and this is gonna end up being a very defensive Incineroar I found out on the calc with the U-turn, and then with the Mamoswine with the Flip Turn. Actually, no, I found out Flip Turn on the bird. It was kind of, I don't know, somewhat defensive, but yes. He's gonna U-turn out against my Donphan, which is fine. This is basically nets me free rocks, which is pretty good against his team. He could be heavy duty boots this, heavy duty boots Incineroar, but I don't know if he would be boots on both, but we'll see. This is still another free switch in for Koko for me, as he's going to U-turn out, which is a good play. Now I'm going to U-turn out on the Reuniclus, and I'm like, okay, well, he might like Calm Mind or something, he might Psychic, so I think my Persian is a okay switch in, but he actually has Thunder, which is going to do a lot in electric terrain. I am more defensive oriented with the Fur Coat. I'm really more offensive, so this was a really good play for him to go for the Thunder. That really weakened me a lot. So at this point, I am basically forced to kind of attack here, just because I want to get damage on, especially if he stays in. I could make a risky play, a nasty plot, but at this point, I really wanted to get damage on the Reuniclus because Reuniclus is kind of a threat to my team. So I'm going to immediately click the Dark Pulse, and he's going to switch into his Urshifu Rapid. It's going to do some damage, and I see the leftovers, so immediately I'm thinking maybe substitute, bulk up, something of the sort. So I'm like, okay, I think he's going to predict me to switch. No way he thinks I'm going to stay in. So I'm going to immediately click the Thunderbolt and bring him in range to where he cannot substitute. So he either bulk ups or substitutes here in my mind. But he actually just clicks Surging Strikes, and it is going to be able to knock out my Garfield, unfortunately. I had a very easy switch into Vaporeon, which is kind of unfortunate I didn't go into that, but now I just have to get back in the game, right? So I'm still in an okay position. I've kind of figured out a few things, and I have this thing weekend, which is nice, so it's not going to be a huge threat, and I can have Vaporeon more in the late game for something like a DNC or a Torn. So I'm going to go into my Koko. I think I just clicked Dazzling Gleam here because, I mean, it's going to hit everything relatively hard. So it's going to go into the Mamo. It's going to take a lot, so I know that this thing is like relatively offensive now. It could be Rindo, it could be Scarf, so I'm going to scout for the Scarf here, and that's why I go Celesteela, predicting a potential Earthquake, but he's actually going to go into the Incineroar, which is totally fine. He's taking more Rock damage, and now, I mean, he gets a good switch off, but I can just go Vaporeon here, no problem. And if he U-turns, that's fine. If he knocks off, that's also kind of fine. So here, I want to make sure my Vaporeon is still healthy because I need it in the late game, so I'm going to Wish. I debated on flip turning, but I did need it healthy. So he either is going to switch out here or stay in and U-turn, and I needed the health, so I was like, okay, let me just protect and get the health back. This Hurricane Miss is actually pretty big. I'm actually not sure if it mattered in the end game, but during the time I was like, okay, that's a big Hurricane Miss because I can switch into more things in the future. So now I just get to Wish, and I'm going to go into my Koko. I think in that position, I probably should have just went hard Koko in hindsight, but we get it there. So he's just going to knock off my AV, which is a little annoying. That's okay, though. Now I can just go for the Dazzling Gleam, or the Thunderbolt, actually, because I know that Mamoswine was actually not Scarfed at that position, just because he did not stay in on the Koko that time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just Thunderbolt, and if he goes Mamoswine, I can just Dazzling Gleam on the switch-in on the next turn, and if I Thunderbolt, that's going to do the most damage to Incineroar, which I found, which is defensive, which I knew. So he's going to go into this. I'm going to scout damage with Thunderbolt. This guy can do 50. He's going to be leftovers as well, so I was like, okay, I can't really 2-KO this, so I'm going to U-turn out, and I'm going to make an aggressive play into the Heracross. So this play could have lost me the game here, but I really did needed to pressure this thing in case it was Calm Mind, where I would have just lost, basically, because I actually did have Roar on Vaporeon, so I would have been okay. And that's where the Hurricane, or the Hurricane Miss would have came in. So if the Hurricane hit, and then I was in a position where I needed to go into Vaporeon and Roar this thing out, I would have taken a Thunder, and I would have taken a lot of damage. In the electric terrain, that, I don't know, with the Calm Mind out, that probably would have killed. So that's why I go into Heracross here and make an aggressive play. And he's going to Calm Mind, so I have to hit a Mega Horn. I do, thankfully, and I'm able to knock it out. I'm going to get a Moxie boost, which is, it's whatever, but because he has Torn, I can't really do anything right now. So I'm going to switch out my Koko, and he is just going to go for the Hurricane. I'm like, no confusion. I get a no confusion. So now I just go for the Thunderbolt again, I believe. Yeah, and that's going to 2-KO this on the switch-in because of the rocks. So the Incineroar is going to go down. He's going to go to the Yancey here. I know he's Mega, so he can't be Scarf or anything, I don't know, like that. So I'm just free to U-turn out into my Celesteela. He makes a really good play, goes for the Mystical Fire there. So I'm like, okay, good play. But now I can just either stay in or go into my Vaporeon. I'm going to elect to go into my Vaporeon just because if he goes Tornadus, I can just flip turn again because I've been going Koko on this often. So I'm just going to flip turn here. I'm going to be able to knock out the Mamoswine, which is really nice. No Ice Shard in the back for like a Celesteela or something, or something like that. Or yeah. So I know my Koko. It's not. I don't think I was modest. I don't remember, but my Thunderbolt was doing about like 58% from my memory. So I was like, okay, one U-turn will like get it in range. So I'm just gonna U-turn on out. It's gonna be at 58% now. So now I'm just gonna go to my Vaporeon. He's actually gonna go for the Rock Polish, which is totally fine. Moonblast, I'm gonna eat that up. very well. So I don't know if a Hurricane into Moonblast would have killed. That's, it's just hard with, Hurricane's 70% accurate. It's going to miss, but, so I'm just flip turn. It's almost going to knock it out, but I now know I can just go with my Celesteela, take the Mystical Fire, a bar crit, of course, and then knock it out. Actually, not sure. I have Ice Shard on my Donphan. I'm not sure if that would. It probably doesn't knock it out from that range, but Donphan could have also came in. I was Spadef, so I just didn't want to be in the situation where like I can EQ, then he just goes Torn, and then U-turns around more. So I was just like, let me just go Celesteela, barring a crit, I live. So I'll just knock it out there. And now I'm just gonna go to my Donphan. Like I said, I was Spadef, and the electric terrain was gonna go away, so that's why I didn't want to go hard Coco, because without the electric terrain, I don't knock it out. So I think he was like, and then I also Ice Shard here just to get a little bit of chip, in case he was Spadef or something. I was just trying to preserve the 5-0 at this point. So I Ice Shard, get a little bit of chip. Hurricane comes out. It's not going to kill me because I'm Spadef. More Spadef than not, I think. And then I go Coco. No confusion, which is fantastic, and I'm able to knock it out with Thunderbolt. So that was a good game. Good first game. Went really well. If I didn't make a misplay early in the game with the Persian, it probably would have been a little bit better, of course, but we take a 5-0 for the first game. So going into the second game, he is going to switch out the Incineroar for the Amoonguss, which makes sense. Amoonguss is going to check Coco a little bit better. I had not revealed Brave Bird at that point. I did have Brave Bird, and we'll see it in this game. I think my Coco set, you guys saw it was U-turn Thunderbolt, definitely Brave Bird with the Assault Vest. So Brave Bird does like 44 to like 50 to like 55, anywhere in that range, depending on if he's defense or Spadef. So yeah, so I could have changed a few of my mons, but since considering game 1 went really well, I was just going to keep the same 6. And the only change he made was the Amoonguss change. So let's get into it. I elect to lead Vaporeon again this game. Vaporeon still has a really, really good matchup this game. Even though he has an Amoonguss, I don't think he would lead Amoonguss straight off the bat. And if he did, I have a amazing check in Celesteela that I can go into. So this thing's come out. This is really my check to the Urshifu. I don't think he stays in. So I'm just going to flip turn immediately, and he actually does reveal sub. So I actually was correct in game 1 to assume that he did have sub or bulk up or something of the sort. So whenever I see leftovers on like Urshifu or something, I'm going to really think about sub. So I'm going to flip turn. I'm not going to break the sub, obviously. So this substitute's not really a big deal because I can just make a series of plays to get back into Vaporeon. I can just click a fast U-turn. I know he's leftovers, not Scarf or anything, right? So he's actually going to try and substitute again, which is, it makes sense if I click Thunderbolt, right? So, and I have the Roar on this thing just in case for sub, bulk up your Shifu. Yeah, if I didn't bring Roar, I would have been in a tough spot. Roar Vaporeon, for sure. It's definitely set up bait sometimes, so Roar. I Roar on Vaporeon makes a lot of sense most of the time. So, he's going to go into the DNC, or not go, he got roared into the DNC, which is a free flip turn for me. I'm able to go into Coco, and at this point, I'm like, okay, he's not staying in, of course. He's going to go Amoonguss, so this is perfect time for me to scout Brave Bird damage, and it's going to do 44. So I know he's basically max defense, something like that. I'm like, okay, this is fantastic information for me to know. And in the chat, Miss Chance so much damage with your Shifu. No way he stays in, right? So I think that Brave Bird was like, very much free for me. If he stayed in with your Shifu, then that's a good play for him, right? But yeah, so he's gonna send this back up. That's okay. But I got a lot of information with the Brave Bird there. It's really, the early game was really bad information. So yeah, so I'm gonna go and do the Celesteela. I'm gonna click Leech Seed because I didn't think he was gonna stay in. Leech Seed in theory was really a bad play because I just forgot about Reuniclus and Magic Guard. I thought he'd maybe Regenerator, but Reuniclus actually is a good check to Celesteela with the Magic Guard, and we'll see that in a second come to play. So he's actually going to try and Stun Spore, which I figured I had the safety goggles, so it's not going to do anything. And I'm going to try and Leech Seed again on the second turn, but he actually has Reuniclus. So I'm going to go into the Donphan on the predicted Thunderbolt, of course, because Celesteela was in. I'm going to get up my rocks. That's no big deal. Psychic's going to do very little because I'm Spadef. Now I'm going to go Hard Persian on the Psychic here. And now I'm in a really good spot. I have my Persian at 100%. The previous game was at 43, that's why I didn't nasty plot, and at this point I'm like, okay, I can nasty plot and I could really put in some work. And I didn't showcase it in game 1, so game 2, it's time for it to come out. So I'm going to nasty plot. He actually goes hard DNC, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm going to get my nasty plot up, and if he Mega Evolves, which I'm not sure if it's Mega Evolve turn 1 or not in this league. I'm really not sure. I mean, I didn't draft a Mega, so that's why I really don't know. A lot of Megas to me are a little overrated and priced high, but that's another video, I guess. So I get a free HP steal off. I'm going to be able to knock out the DNC, which is very huge. And he's going to be able to go into the Donphan, or why did I say Donphan? Mammoth, which I can. It's a free Dark Pulse, and it's very offensive. I don't even. This might be banded, to be honest, because this is a fur coat Garfield. I did not calc the damage. It really didn't matter for me to calc the damage, of course. I'm just free to Dark Pulse here, and that's gonna knock out the Mammo. And Torrentine is gonna come out. It's gonna outspeed because it's 121 base speed, and this is 115 base speed. So I'm like, okay, let me just go Coco here. He's gonna probably Hurricane. He's gonna miss. Not too big of a deal because I could wish support, and I'm like, okay, let me just U-turn on out here. And then now I get a free switch into my Celesteela, and I think I'm gonna go, actually I'm gonna make a double into the Heracross, which is definitely the right play because Marinicus is gonna come in for sure. And then now I was like, okay, the double into Heracross was really good, and I think I was just like, okay, let me just Mega Horn here because I want to kill this Reuniclus. If I was really thinking, obviously he's gonna go to Torn here. I did carry Stone Edge, so my play should have been Stone Edge, but it's unfortunate. As he is going to go Torn, I'm just going to Mega Horn. Getting 40% off is like still, I mean, not bad, right? That has to be banded. I mean, there's a lot of damage, right? Reuniclus comes in. You turn on out. Go into my Persian once again on the Psychic, which is great. Very thankful that he didn't go for the Thunder. I think did the Electric Train end? I don't even know. Electricity disappeared for the battle on the previous turn, so that's good. So now I get to go into this, and I suspect that the Tornadus to come in here. Well, honestly, his play here is right. So he knows I have Nasty Plot, and if I get a Nasty Plot up, I basically get another kill. So I think he likely could go into the Tornadus and try and play a little risky here, or he could stay in, or depending on what the set is. I mean, Dark Pulse is just overall the best play for me here. So. It's going to do 54, which is really good. He's going to try and Calm Mind, but Dark Pulse is going to net me a KO here, unless he goes Tornadus, but he's just going to sack the Reuniclus off there. And Garfield is putting on a clinic this game, so he's going to go Bird Up. I'm going to go right back to my Coco. Coco comes in every time, like 25%, not doing much to me at all. I'm going to Thunderbolt there. So actually, I'm going to go back to that play in a second. So I'm going to go Coco on the Heat Wave, right? So, the reason why I Thunderbolt here is just because I think a little bit up. The U-turn was obvious. So, some people were talking in chat. And I was like, okay, well, it's likely he stays in here. He's down 6-3. Maybe he'll try and make a play to get back in the game. I'm just going to click Thunderbolt because, even if he goes Amoonguss, I can just U-turn out into the Celesteela. Celesteela basically just puts on a clinic in the late game. Barring this, I mean, the Heat Wave's going to do some damage, but I'm defensive Seala, so it's not going to do too much. And Heat Wave only did 25 to Coco, so it's not that offensive, I don't think. So I'm just going to Thunderbolt. I'm going to get the play right. I'm going to knock it out. And at this point, I just U-turn into my Celesteela on a Giga Drain. I mean, it's doing extremely nothing, right? So, yeah, your Shifu's going to come out. Air Slash is going to come out. It's going to do a lot of damage. 73. CC does 37. Not enough. And I'm going to knock it out with a second Air Slash. Good defense boost, doesn't really matter. And then Amoonguss is going to come out here. Air Slash. Flinch, which is kind of good on the Synthesis. And that's going to be game. So, really, really good first 2 games of the season for me. I think my prep was basically perfect. I don't think it could have got any better. These 6 Pokemon really were perfect for the game. Everything had its own role. Donphan was probably the least useful. It was still, it still spit up Donphan, right? Like, it still took some hits. It got rocks up. The rocks were, very crucial, especially for the Incineroar in Game 1. But yeah, so that is week 1 of IGL. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. So yeah, we'll see you guys maybe for the next week of the IGL. So thanks for watching.